Okay, YouTube, let's get ready for TrapVision's 10th live of the day.
To become a watch enthusiast, start by setting a budget, learning basic watch terminology, exploring different brands and styles by visiting watch stores, trying on watches in person, and gradually building a collection with entry-level timepieces while focusing on aspects that interest you most, like design, history, or complications. Actively engage with the watch community online and in person to further your knowledge and appreciation for watches.
Okay. Yo. What's happening, everybody? Welcome in to another live stream with your boy. All right. So before we go any further with the show, I want to welcome in Megazoid. I see you in there. You left a comment already. Chris, appreciate you for being here as well. Skylar Centennial is in the building. And yeah, man, let's get the wrist checks out the way. All right, hold on for a second. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. We getting it together, man. Put your wrist checks in the chat. Y'all know the show must go on, man. We got a little bit of technical difficulties, you know what I'm saying? Little something. But we'll knock this on out real quick. Wrist check, Pro Master. Okay, I like that. And of course, pardon me for a second. You guys talk amongst yourselves. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, man, a couple calls. I see my man. We're about to bring somebody else up on the stream. There's a lot going on real quick. I will get into that at some other point. But we are here to talk about PROTEK, and we actually have a guest backstage, and we're going to bring him up and get a little history of PROTEK. Some of you guys already know who this is, but I do have some people that's watching. I have some Marines that are watching. I have a couple of watch enthusiasts, and hopefully my man Bryce from PA Jewelers is in here, man. But without further ado, let's add my man Barry to the stage here. Okay, hold on.
How are you, Travis?
Hey, how you doing?
All right, man. Sorry about
no,
being
you're
a few
fine.
minutes behind here.
There we go. All right. It is okay, Barry. You called at the same time my doctor called from VA hospital, and I was like, okay, it was
take that
crazy.
call instead. Don't worry about it.
Man, it's been a very interesting morning so far. And we have a number of people that's in the chat, some that are familiar with you, some that are not. I wanted to introduce you to everybody here. But before we get into your backstory and PROTEK, Barry, I must have watched a few dozen videos with you in it.
Oh,
And I know you're gonna get into this, man, but like going back to 1989, which was a great year. Some of you guys weren't even born yet. Some of you guys in the chat weren't even born. Like that's the age. What's the Game Boy? Game Boy came out in 1989, and that was the rise of Ninja Turtles. So that's just a little, yeah. And you've been doing your thing for a long time, man. So Barry, now that we got that out the way, I'm gonna let you start. I'm gonna let you start on how we got to this point to PROTEK. I know it's on your website. It's funny. I actually have a Luminox. I have a Luminox here. Your creation, your baby. And I heard one podcast, and I thought your life it was extremely interesting because I remember catalogs, JC Whitney, service merchandise, and you've been in a couple of catalogs. And I know you were on whose show? You saw somebody's show, and you was like, I just want a book to open up and just look at stuff. I don't care about it being outdated. And I feel you because I still have some of my old magazines. I got some JC Whitney stuff in the back. But let's start with why.
you brought up two throwbacks. You brought up service merchandise and J.C. Whitney.
Man, oh, I love. You know what I loved about service merchandise as a kid? They used to have those race car tracks in the back of the book, towards the back, and those train sets. Oh man, I love that, man. I'm an old head too. I'm an old head, man.
They were a very good account of ours in the old back in the day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I want to get to one part because I'm interested in your story, how you got started. Because I heard you gave a testimony of when you started this business, you pulled your pockets out and gave a dude some lint, bro. That had to be the funniest thing I ever heard. Doing a sales pitch. That is crazy. That is crazy. So, all right, let's start there.
All right. Well, I don't want to bore your listeners or viewers, but this whole journey began when I was already in the watch business during the time that fashion watches were exploding in department stores with Swatch, Guess, Fossil. New department stores were opening up new areas just for watches that hadn't been really there before. It was very limited prior to that. And then that whole category just blossomed into fashion and fine. And so I was already in the category, and I just felt we needed something to enable us to have a sustaining business, a business that would keep on going. And even if you were copied, you still wouldn't be that entity. And there were two ways to do it: either have an enormous brand name like a famous designer, or have a technology that would separate you from others. And didn't know any famous designers, so I got lucky and found a lume tech in Switzerland and started a fax relationship with the CEO of that company, and eventually arrived at the belief that if we want to try and get that technology and put it into watches for self-powered lume, we needed to go over there and sit down with this gentleman and spend a couple of days with him. So I called up an old friend, Richard Timbo, and we were repping similar things on different sides of the country, and said, I'm going to go do this. Would you like to join me? We'll start a business and develop a watch brand that employs or uses this technology. And that's how Luminox began. Our first watches shipped in April of 1990 after meeting with this CEO of the company in November of 89. And what you're referring to is that gentleman asking us daily, how much money do you boys have? And, we were boys compared to, we were 30 years younger than him. Right. And we just told him, honestly, we don't have any money. we believe in what you have. We'd like to put it into a watch brand and create a brand around it. And we're in all the mail order catalogs. So that'll be our marketing. We'll just take the product, show day, show night, to show the night lume technology and tell the story. And he asked for 4 days straight, how much money do you boys have? And so finally, on the fourth day, I just stood up, and you know how you can get lint in your pockets, and I just pulled out my front pocket, held it out, and there was a little piece of lint, and I just dropped the lint and said,
Oof.
"That's about all we got. That's it." So, you know, we're not a moneyed interest, but we got heart, we got soul. We'll work our tails off. We believe in it, and ultimately, you know, he gave us a 10-year exclusive on this technology in the U.S. They did sell it to a couple other people outside of the U.S. And then, which people can't believe, he took out his checkbook and he wrote me a personal check for $80,000. It was 1989, and said, "Here's what we're going to do. You need some money. Every time you sell a watch, you give me back $1 till you reach 40,000. So I'll split the marketing to help you get this going." And that's how we got started.
That is
No
wild.
contract. No
Now
contract.
that's crazy. So you can't do that now. There's no way that gentleman handshake. You can't do that at this present time.
But, you know, the takeaway out of that was, as we left, I said to my partner, Rich, I said, "You realize this guy just put us in business. And when someone does something good for you, you got to do better for them." So he was asking for $1 a watch. And I just said, let's just give him $1.50 and show him some of our character, that, you know, we appreciate what he's done to help us get going. And that was the advent. That's how Luminox got started.
That is interesting. I like I said, I went through a number of the interviews. You were on Blog to Watch. You were on Islander. Like, you've been interviewed at Skylar interviewed you twice. And I'm curious, would you be opposed to a Netflix special if you were ever offered that opportunity as far as a role in horology?
Well, I mean, of course it would be an incredible honor, but I don't think I'm worthy of that. So, but the answer is sure. I'd love to be all in.
All right, because I'm gonna get into why I asked you that. I'll get into why, because I am a net. Oh, I love Netflix, watching it and getting through the documentaries and stuff like that. But the reason why, so all of my my veterans that's in chat, my man, I can't say his name, but I know he's watching right now. He's a Marine, and the one thing that I wanted to bring forward is how important these watches are. Because I just shared this last night. I have a few watches because I was in the Army, and had I had a tritium tube watch during service, oh man, that would have just served me well, because at night you don't want to hit your Casio and have your light shining on a night mission, because light discipline, you know. And with your tritium tubes, I mean, your eyes are focused on it, so the enemy couldn't see you from a distance, you know, but they could definitely see that Casio little light. And for those think that light is sucks, once your eyes are trained in a night mission, that little bitty light, I don't care how far, you can see it, especially through the lens of something that got something hot that's coming your way. And they can see that.
Well, we've definitely heard over the years, you know, especially more so back in the old days, because this is a relatively new brand, only 3 years on the market. But back in the old days, we definitely heard from people saying that any light at all was an issue in a military operation, because it could be picked up, as you've indicated. And, you know, there's ways around that. Well, first of all, you can cover it.
Of course.
Yeah, and they make little covers that you can Velcro on. But with regard to the illumination itself, the colors of the tritium lume come in 9 different colors. Now, green is the brightest by far, and so we use green because our purpose, our USP, is to say we have the easiest watch to read in darkness. So therefore we use green. Now, at one point, way back, Cabela's said, "Hey, could you make a sniper's version for us?" Cabela's was our biggest U.S. account.
Wow.
Cabela's and Sharper Image, those two were our top accounts. Volume. I mean, we had many great accounts, but those were our 2 top accounts. And so we created one using dark red. Now, we ended up getting a lot of returns because the consumer who's buying a tritium watch is wanting to see it easily in the dark. And the dark red, I don't have the chart in front of me, but if green represents 100, dark red is around 15. So
Okay.
about 15% of
Right.
low. And so you barely can see it, especially if you've transitioned from light to dark.
Dark. Right.
It won't pop right away. But it's a sniper's watch, and it was created as that. And a sniper would lay in wait in the darkness for a long period of time till your eyes are entirely fully dark adapted. And when you get to that point, yes, you can see it. But the average consumer who was just looking to look at their watch real quick and see time, that would be an issue. So we had a lot of returns, people saying, I can't see the darn thing. So, but there's ways, in other words, there's ways to create a watch specifically for that type of individual in a military operation. Dark blue is another one, somewhere around 20%. But in our watches, we use green predominantly. It's the brightest. When we have, in some of our watches, we're using T100 lume, which is bigger tritium tubes. So, and I can explain all that if your audience doesn't know it, but the tritium tubes are the part that's glowing. It's a glass tube made of borosilicate glass, like Pyrex, like a cooking dish. And it's filled with a glue and then a phosphor powder, so that the entire inside of the vessel is coated with this phosphor. And it's that there's your T100. That's a good one. Right. So that's from the brand new U.S. Marines 250th birthday Semper Fi collection that comes out next week. And so there you got the giant tritium tubes. And in some of the other models, when we use these, I love that case back, by the way.
That case back is wild, bro.
We added so we took a lot of the watch info, like 300 meters and all that kind of stuff, and pushed it out further and filled out the center with the few, the proud, 250 years of uncommon valor as a celebratory collection. We made 5 watches in 2 different case bodies to celebrate this momentous occasion. Anyway, what I was saying is, since you have more bigger tubes and bigger area glowing on some of the other watches where we use 200, on all of the other watches where we use the T100 tubes, we include ice blue, and it's just a pretty color. Now, the reason I want to bring that up is because I mentioned the dark blue before, and I mentioned and I mentioned the dark red, and those aren't things we're doing, but we do use the ice blue.
Okay. In
the big tubes. I see somebody asking if red tritium watches they're not available from us, so we don't make them, but we stick with predominantly green, and as I said, in the T100s we have some ice blue as well. And at 12 o'clock 12 o'clock is always a different color. We use orange because it's what we've been using since 1990. And the purpose of that is that in complete darkness, you want to be able to orient yourself top of dial. As soon as you know top of dial, you know the rest. So that's a little bit on the tritium for you there.
I was curious, man. Like, so I commend you, one, for starting like this trend, right? And it's funny that I learned about you, I want to say about 2 years ago. I was talking to Barry here, and I shared that with you. We were talking at Moria Jewelers, and it was somebody came in with
Barry Davin.
Somebody came in with the Luminox, and he went and got his Luminox. He said, I know the guy that actually started this, and his name is Barry. Man, that dude talked the world about you. He was like, oh, you got to meet him. He's cool. He's like, hey, he's old school. And then it's funny going through your interviews, you show it. You are so old school, man. And for real, I love that, man. Like, because that's a part of the world that you're showing in your personality that right now it's like it's fading away. Let's just say that,
That
So,
guy, Barry Barry Davinger out of Chicago area, Chicago and Indiana now. He was one of our solid reps in the old group we had.
mhm.
Good guy. But the actual, the part I like best about that with regard to him was I know him from before that because he and
Mm.
I both worked at Monet Jewelry in around 1977, 78, 70, 80, right in there. And so, we were both in a big General Mills owned corporation. That's where I met him. And when he joined us later, it was like, oh, great. I remember you from the old days. So that was it.
Sheesh. You know what? Now you made me feel like a little kitten on the stage. You said 77 to 78, man. That's that's around the time that young TrapVision was being born, man. That's crazy. But Barry's a great guy, man. I enjoy talking to him, and he still has that watch. He still has that original PROTEK. He's proud of that thing. I mean, not
Oh,
PROTEK.
yes,
Sorry,
Lumina.
the Luminox.
But we
He
need to
still
get
has
him.
that Luminox. Yeah, that dope, man. He shows it off. Of all the people that I've met, watch enthusiasts, I know some people that are extremely crazy about watches, right? And it was something that you were asked before about other watches. Now I've heard you talk about some of the higher end watches, but you primarily wear PROTEK, correct?
Oh, I have to wear PROTEK. So, no, I mean, here's a true story. I've been in the watch business for decades, and if you're in a given category, you'd like to maybe have some of the rest of that category. Like I'd like to have a Rolex. I'd like to have there's a few watches I'd like to own. I did buy an Omega Seamaster. I'm going to say 15 years or so ago, and I've worn it a total of 10 to 12 times, which is really a waste of money to buy something like that. But the reason is I had it on one night, and my wife and I went to dinner somewhere, got into a conversation with somebody. What do you do? I'm in the watch business. Oh, is that your watch? No, this isn't mine. I'm wearing somebody. So as a result,
Right.
now I have to just wear my own watch. Somebody's asking about the half-life of tritium. It's 12 and a half because it glows for 25 years.
So I was curious because I asked this question too. Now, let's say because PROTEK is fairly new. You said it's 3 years old, correct?
Uh,
All right. So 20 years from now, somebody bought a watch. 20 years from now, their watch is faded or what have you. And it's passed down to the next generation. Do you replace the entire dial, or is it possible to get more tritium put in this watch?
all right. So first of all, we're not in a luxury price point. So say you bought a whatever, $4,000, $5,000, $7,000, $8,000 watch.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want it to be something you're going to toss away. It's something that you'd want to keep and pass down. We're in a different category of watch.
Okay.
I kind of jokingly call it the beater class. We're a beater. You can bang the crap out of it, and therefore we're somewhat disposable because our price point isn't through the roof. An average of about $500 a watch, rough. Now I'm not saying that's nothing, but it's not 5,000.
Right.
Having said that, there's a couple of people that specialize. One of them in particular is a guy named Norm Kay out of Houston. He specializes in replacing the tritium tubes because they will go dark. I mean, it's part of technology. They're going to fade out. And Norm does an excellent job, not only replacing the tubes, but also kind of reconditioning the watch. So it really looks like new. So I recommend him highly. He's a fan of PROTEK. He's a good guy, 32 years on Houston police. And now he has a different job in retirement, basically.
Okay. Well, Barry, I did have a question about, so you had Luminox and you ran that, you've testified to this, I don't know how many times, but coming into PROTEK, what was the biggest challenge that you had or faced when you started this brand, this new one?
The biggest challenge is the change in our world. This is a 20-minute conversation, so I don't want to bore the hell out of your whole audience, but this issue the dynamic of retail in our world today, the advent of online, this has changed everything. Conglomeration of retail. This started in the 80s when retail stores started either going out of business or being bought up and conglomerating. I mean, here's an example. I live in Northern California. When I moved here, there were 14 department stores I could call on. This is around 79-ish. Today, there's 3 department stores here, and not one of them is based here. So that gives you an idea of how the retail environment has changed dramatically. There's less options, there's less choices, and because of this, it impacts smaller brands that are trying to gain access to retail presence. In the old days, a given buyer could say, well, they've all got this, so I'm going to buy this to have a little bit of a different department and to present a unique character to that particular buyer's department. That doesn't happen anymore. They would test like that and see if they could get a brand going and build from there. Today, you have to be established because it's cookie cutter merchandise in those stores. It's the same stuff. If I blindfold you and take you in the store and you don't see the store's name on the wall somewhere, you don't know what store you're in because the mix of product is the same. That's because the things that get into those stores have already been vetted in terms of having consumer desire for it. So the customers want it. That's when the stores will put you in. So that's why it makes it so much more difficult today to try to get a new brand up and established. And remember, in the case of watches are a brand-driven category, meaning the brand name, unlike a commodity product, like say a gold chain, you buy basically based on weight. But in the case of watches, people buy brand names and they have comfort with brand names, which allows them to go buy that. Well, to get to that point, you have to have at least somewhat established brand name. And as I said to you, we're 3 years out now. We first started shipping in end of summer of 22. So, we're just a new entity. And the good news is that, and I'm hearing it from accounts that do carry us, is they're saying that people are now asking about the brand. There's greater interest than ever was before. And the thinking is that we're turning the corner and we're arriving. We haven't arrived.
Hey, I tell you what, I saw you guys. So I have an account with GovX. I get my glasses from them, my Oakleys, sometimes knives, and like this, the prices are great. And I'm going through and it's funny. I'm like, PROTEK, okay, let me check this out. And I said, oh, okay. I like this tritium tubes because I have a number of tritium tube pieces, which you ought to be proud of yourself for that, man, because you started something. I love tritium tubes. Let me see. I probably have about 6 watches with tritium tubes in it, including I have this Luminox here. But to see that and leading up to this conversation that me and you having, man, it's exciting for me because I love watches. And I think I'm more in love with somebody having the cojones to start a business in this industry, and like you're really revamping because you started back in time where, like you said, it was just a handshake, back in the day, like, hey, I want to do business with you. Let's do this. Let's partner up. And it was just that. And if something came of it, yeah, cool. But like now you got lawyers, all kind, you got to look at a contract and all this other stuff. And so I commend you on that one. But I was more curious. Now, I do want to ask you this. How often do you go to like trade shows?
Well, okay. So there's another changing dynamic. Trade shows are, by and large, not as successful, not as important as they were in the past. Partly because of some of the other dynamics I just talked about with regard to products getting into stores and so forth. But so we really are down to a couple of shows a year. I used to do 20 shows a year at one point, and we're just down to a couple shows a year now. And the most important show for us is the SHOT Show. I mean, I could see trying Outdoor Retailer again. That used to be my favorite show. It was our first show. It's the one that really helped get us on the map with my old brand. But for example, I used to do the DEMA, the dive show, Dive Equipment Manufacturers Association, and really that I watched as these shows shrunk. I was at the Hong Kong show in September. That show used to be massive, and I can see now this past year, when you used to walk into the main hall on the main floor, the booths went all the way to the back, the full width of this giant hall. Now they cut off half of the depth. They cut off half of the width. So the show is about 1/4 the size. So this is what's happening in the world of trade shows in general. The SHOT Show's not that way. The SHOT Show's packed,
Right.
filling up over the brim. But each show is, I guess, a different circumstance. DEMA was shrinking left and right. Outdoor Retailer was shrinking. So you start to question, does it make sense to go to these shows? Anyway.
So I'm going to ask you, you've been doing, so PROTEK's 3 years old. And like I said, I've seen you on a number of videos. Like you've been streamlined with some heavy hitters. Well, I'm gonna call them heavy hitters. Have you seen success with YouTubers that's interested in your brand?
I've worked with Skylar, who introduced me to you. I've been on one or two other interviews with somebody that's doing YouTube, but in general, no. I mean, I haven't pursued it, and that's a mistake of mine, because here's another place where the world has changed. Like when I get on with you, you mentioned you've seen all these YouTube videos, and interestingly, when because we are young as a brand, when people happen to call in and I get into a discussion with them, one of my questions is always, well, how did you find us? Because I'd like to learn, how are people finding this brand? And a lot of times it comes down to SEO, like Googling and seeing us listed fairly highly. And the other way is people say, I saw a bunch of YouTube interviews. So I guess that's an important vehicle for us to try to pursue more often.
Okay, because and one thing that kind of sparked that, let me get, I
saw Skylar on there for a minute.
He said, Barry, you should look into Wind Up Watch Fair for next year. Jason.
I did Wind Up in San Francisco in 24. I'd like to do more shows with them. I think they have a pretty cool thing happening, an interesting phenomenon. I think they're 10 years old now.
Well, I'm going to say this, and I've mentioned this to other watch owners, micro brands, if you will. If you could partner with like a knife company, you guys can split the cost of a booth. It was said, like, you got PROTEK right here, you got knives, and man, EDC and watches go hand in hand. So I think that'd be something that you should consider. Because I've seen some pictures. I actually went through and just typed in PROTEK, right? And I just wanted to see who all had PROTEK, and there's people taking pictures in the water, scuba diving with it. I've seen pictures like they got their knives, and everybody takes little pretty pictures next to a camera or something like that. So I've seen a number of PROTEK pictures out there represented. So just throwing that out there to you, if you do decide to go to like a Minutes and Hours or one of the Wind Up shows, I would do that. Or even if you can attach yourself to a car show.
Well, you start talking cars, now you're talking about real passion there for me. With regard to Wind Up, I think you have to be one brand per, it's not a booth, it's a table, one brand per table. At Wind Up this year, I ran into the owner of PROTEK Knives, same name, different spelling.
Wow.
A guy named Dave, and I said, would you like us to make a watch for you? And he said, that might be interesting. Then you could have a gift set, a knife and a watch. And it didn't turn into anything. At last year's SHOT Show, I got to meet CJ Buck. Very nice guy, by the way. And of course, Buck Knives is, hugely famous. And we talked about the possibility of doing a gift set with it by making a buck watch. And he was all in for it, but ultimately some of the people in his management group declined, so it got passed. But I'd still love to make a watch for those guys, and I know they'd sell it out instantly, especially if it was limited edition. But hey, it's not my decision.
Spectre Control want to know if you distribute outside.
We have a couple of, we're primarily U.S. located, but we have a company in Sweden, Astro Sweden. It's a retailer. They also do some distribution, and they have they carry our brand. It's kind of the Cabela's or Bass Pro of Sweden, but they sell beyond Sweden throughout Europe. So it's an outdoorsman's type retailer. We also work with a company in the UK called Heine Haynes, and this is online military and outdoor gear, things of that sort. They carry our watches, but we don't have enough distribution outside the US yet. We'd like to add more, of course.
Okay, the Washington, D.C. show is also a great show to attend. Not as big as New York, but a great show as well. I've been to that too. My first time this year.
What Washington, D.C. show is that?
District Time. That show was nice. That show was really nice, man. It's intense. I'm gonna call it intense, man. Like it's a concentration of just watch enthusiasts. The energy is off the charts, and then the way the brands that's there, heavy hitters. And I believe, the thing about it is, like, I was going through your website. You know, matter of fact, let's see something real quick. Let me see if I can get your.
I sent you pictures, by the way, links.
Yeah, I did, but I was intrigued with your web. Hold up, I did have a picture here. Give me a second here. Believe.
Let your audience know what our newest things are.
So I was looking at that one right there.
Brand new. That's brand new. It hasn't even hit the country yet. Should be in next week. So that is part of this. The Semper Fi collection, which is, you can read right on the dial above the 6 for Fidelis. Then it says 1775 to 2025 USMC. So that's the 250th birthday celebratory watch. It's one of 5, but it's one of 3 in this new bigger 45 millimeter case that we call the Aggressor.
Wow.
G100 hour tubes. You showed the lume of that a few minutes back, and this 2 of the models have Marpat Digi Camo dials, so that's marine pattern Digi Camo.
Sorry, wrong Scott. Wrong.
That looked like Seiko, also a great product.
That was I was looking at your website though. Let's pull up your website real quick. So this the thing, man. I absolutely love this watch right here.
Well, that's our only red dial.
That one is, oh my gosh. And see, the thing I like about that is the crown matching the actual watch, man. The lume is on point too. But that right there was that photo right there that got me. I love that. That is sweet.
All right. So when we did, this is the our first automatic created for the under the Marines program. So this uses Seiko's 24 jewel movement, kind of the workhorse of most of Seiko's great divers. And the 4 colors that you see there on the dials, those are USMC Pantones. Desert, black, red, and green are all USMC Pantones, using their exact colors. And the same thing in our Series 1010, which is our quartz Marines watches. Those are using USMC Pantones.
Let's see.
Basically, try to keep
your landing page real quick. Which this thing, that right there, that picture right there with the guys, man, I thought that was pretty dope. Watching the choppers.
There's the Marpat Digi Camo. You just saw it on the uniform.
Okay, hold on, let's go back to that real quick.
I don't know how to reverse that.
No, you're fine. Hold on, let me go. I'm gonna go back to it because it's on auto. So it's gonna go.
And there, you see the
this
one
one
watch with the yellow strap there.
Yes.
So that's also using that's the Aggressor Series 4000. That's also 45 millimeter using T100 lumen. There you can see the ice blue on both these. The one on the left on the bracelet, that's a titanium field watch on a solid link titanium bracelet. We always use solid link. We never just take a bracelet off a shelf. We design it to fit the exact design of the watch. And right there, there's the new Aggressor Series 4000 with some bright, fun colors. And you can now get straps to match those colors as well.
Oh, okay. That blue is nice. I like that.
It looks like they screwed up the positioning of the yellow and the blue strip.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how quick a fix that could be, but yeah, I like that. Let's go back to your home page here. And that's that tour. Is that the anniversary one? This is the one you were talking about, correct? 1000 dive.
That's the regular. That's a non-USMC. It's the same watch as we do for USMC, but the colors are different.
Okay.
So it'll be the next series after this.
Next series after this one. All right, let's see. And what is it? It's we got the 110, we got the 1210, 2000.
1010, above 1210.
Right this one right here.
Okay. So those are, again, coming back to a Marines collection. And here, whatever colors you see are actual Marine Pantones.
And these things, you call them beaters. So they ready to serve.
Well, again, yeah, and this is the whole concept of a beater. Back in the day when we used to do trade shows and people would come walking up wearing a Rolex or some higher end watch, and we would kid around a little bit and say, oh, you haven't joined the former Rolex Wearers Club? And they look at us puzzled, and then we just say, we hear it from people all the time that they put their Rolex in the safe deposit box and they're wearing, at that time it was Luminox, but they're wearing one of our watches just as a knockaround watch because you can bang the crap out of it and it doesn't matter. That's the purpose that they serve. And we think that even the people that own the high-end watches, they should also own a knockaround watch. And we're very happy to fill that role.
Okay. Let me go ahead and fall that back. Let me see. I do want to ask everybody in the chat if you have any questions for Barry, man, put it in the chat. Also, I left a link to that page that you guys just saw. So you feel free to go check it out on your own time and pick out what you want. And I do agree. It was put in the chat earlier. I think one of the things with YouTubers that, and I don't care what level they're on, if you learn about a product or like these opportunities, for me, let me just speak for me. My challenge with that is like, how can I get more and more people engaged with this brand, especially if I think is something worth having. But I'm retired from the military, so I'm not out on missions or anything like that. But I still love the concept, and a lot of my watches are field watches. I have aviators, and I have watches that I knock around with because I'm active. I'm in the Midwest. It's cold right now. Okay, so I need to watch that if I get out there and go for like a 10-mile hike or something like that, it has to hold up. And I've actually had watches fail in 10-degree weather, like literally just conk out on me. Digital pieces. I've had a couple automatics that went out. So I need something. And I did hear during one of your live streams or podcasts that these watches are tested. You test these watches. So could you break that down? What is testing one of these pieces look like?
I mean, it's really the standards of making any watch that goes through a certain set of testing to know that you have reasonable quality. You get, some shock resistance, for sure, water resistance. When you make a water watch, you have to have water resistance testing. All watches get water resistance testing, but we have up to 300-meter dive watches. So for us, any watch that is made for water use, we test it in both air and liquid, every single watch. And that's really not standard. Standard would be air pressure testing for all watches, and then batch testing, maybe 3 out of 100 or something, where you test it in water. Because when you test in water, if it fails, you've lost the watch. You got to throw it away. So a lot of people don't test every one in water, but because we make water watches to a large extent, of course, we also make land-based watches with our field watches, and our field watches are a great success for our brand. But when you make a water watch, we just think that we have to give the customer that level of comfort that we know it can handle the water.
Oh, yeah.
So all of our dive watches are tested in both air and water. Our land-based watches, our field watches, and by the way, all of our dive watches have screw case back, screw crowns, tested to the full depth rating, whether it's 300 or 200 meters, depending on the watch itself. But really, nobody goes to 100 meters.
Right.
They just don't. It's just a matter. It's just sort of a stamp of credibility if you have a higher depth rating. And then our field watches, I was surprised by this. When we launched the brand, I expected 85-90% of our business to come from our carbon dive. Let's say 80%, because we also have field dive. And surprisingly, 5 of our top 10 sellers are our field watches. So they really, really do well. Now, why is that? Well, the watch industry has gotten smaller, and that's a smaller size for us at 40 millimeters. It's lightweight, titanium. I think it's 48 grams or something like that. You don't even know it's on your wrist. And because it uses that T100 lume that people are crazy about. So those have really been big sellers for us, whether it's USMC or standard.
Okay.
So what's the little story about your customer?
Yeah, Jason's asking the question.
Well, the stories, I don't have a particular memorable story, but the stories that really, I guess, fill me with pride is when people get one of our watches and then send us a note telling us they found our product, they absolutely love it. And by the way, we do Kickstarters, and we don't do this, and I'll tell you exactly why, so people can find our product. When we launch a new series, we come out with a Kickstarter. Usually those crowdfunding programs are created. Somebody's asking if non-Marines can purchase and wear. Absolutely. Anybody can purchase and wear. Please do. Go to protekwatch.com, PROTEK watch.com. Purchase there. We're going to give you a code in a minute as well for discount. Somebody asking if Semperfi is available for retail. It's available for retail. Anybody can get this collection. It's created to celebrate the Marines. Just like when we used to do Navy SEAL watches. There's only a couple thousand SEALs. I mean, that's not but they were created to celebrate the SEALs, and we sold 2 million of them. So
sheesh.
Eventually, yeah, I mean, you got to go beyond that core market. Now, same thing right now with the Marines collection. You may or may not be a Marine, but that doesn't mean you can't celebrate them by wearing the product.
Right.
We support all branches of the armed services.
Yeah, and I know when you were live last time, the Army is very difficult when you're doing that. I don't know why they. Listen, I was in the Army, and there were a number of people that want to do contracts, and I actually got a chance to see what that looks like, and I said, man, that's crazy. A bunch of good idea fairies in there, and they still couldn't get it done. So, yeah, and I have the right to talk against the Army. Any military, anybody can get it. It's equal opportunists. Y'all know if you're a serviceman, it's equal opportunists. And I'm sure, Barry, you've been around. I'm sure you've heard a ton of jokes because you were around veterans and stuff like that. But yeah, we got a couple of veterans in here right now. Let me see. Where's my crayon eating Marine at? He's in here somewhere. He sent me a picture of his meal today. He had some barbecue flavored crayons. And I hope you got full on that this morning, brother. You gonna cuss me out later. That's all right. Yeah, so Barry, I'm not gonna hold you much longer. You did say that you're gonna give a discount. We can put that.
What I asked you yesterday or day before in an email for a code you thought would be okay, and because it's TrapVision, I thought let's just use Trap.
Trap. Let's do Trap.
So
That's
TRA.
the name of. Yeah,
You
yeah.
go to
We can do that.
PROTEKWatch.com and you find anything you'd like. Then you can at checkout use the code TRAP TRAP, and you get a 20% discount because we're here to try and help you and collaborate with you.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, we have other watches at timeconcepts.net. You could use the same code there if you want and get a discount.
Timeconcepts.net.
Yeah, that's another product we do in vintage watches, not ProTek.
Okay. He said, everyone defend me. He said the thing. Barry, do you use any scratch resistance coating on your titanium watches?
All right, so this came up in a question from a consumer the other day as well. Their question was, is it because titanium's a little softer metal than steel, so it can scuff. It has benefits as well, like super lightweight. The question was, when you plate a titanium case, is it more impervious to scratching than if not plated? And the answer to that is yes. Coming back to the base metal, could it scratch? Yes. Could steel scratch? Yes. Can any material scratch? Yes. I mean, it's like when it's all a matter of how you take care of your product. It's for example, all of our watches have sapphire crystals, all of them with anti-reflective coating. So when you look at the watch, you can get a glare-free view of time. And because of the lume, no matter what the light level, including complete darkness, able to see time at a glance right away. But sapphire crystals, definitely harder, higher Vickr count, usually between 990 and 1100 Vickers. Mineral is usually around 550. K1's around 770. Those are Vickers count is the strength of the glass. But even sapphire, I mean, you rub that on lava rock, it's going to scratch. These are just materials, and if they are beaten hard enough, they're going to show their wear and tear. But we're not a dress watch. We're still a beater. We're still a watch that's made for that type of environment.
So Barry, this is a very interesting thing that I have. A lot of times I have viewers that are they're in here, they're watching, but they are texting me. And one of the questions right now is there a dream collaboration or partnership that you would love to do? That is, and they're saying it has to be within your brand's DNA.
Well, I mean, there's a couple that would be fun. Yeah, I mean, I can name a couple. You already talked about knives.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to do a collab with a knife company. I'd like to do a collab with a gun company. I have asked Franco Beretta from Beretta Guns. He's a true gentleman and a real icon in the industry. I've asked him numerous times, let me make a Beretta watch. I'd love to do that for you. I had conversations with him maybe 6-7 years ago about doing a Beretta watch, but without tritium, because I was in a non-compete moment. But now I'd like to do one with him, but thus far he hasn't accepted the proposal. I tried to reach out to not Glock, but Sig Sauer to try and do a watch with them maybe 2 years ago, and they ended up declining at the time. But yeah, we'd like to do collaborations with some of these groups. Also, if a great retailer was to come along and say, hey, do something just for us, we'll gladly do it. All of these are opportunities, and we love opportunities.
Somebody put that in the chat already. ProTek and Sig Sauer. Yeah, bro.
Love to do it. I try to choose a quality brand to align ourselves with, and they are certainly quality.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something, Barry. I'm extremely childish in my ways, and I still like action figures. I would love to see a ProTek G.I. Joe in the form of Gun Ho, seeing that you are all Marine. That would be fresh. You know what I'm saying? You got the character, an actual figure. If you could do it with Hasbro, the watch, the little cutout card, man, that would be, yeah. And I know anybody in the chat. Yes, I told y'all I'm childish.
Well,
And
if you or anybody listeners has any connections along those lines, we'd love to do a GI Joe watch.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. You know what? I'm gonna make it my mission. I'm actually going to email Hasbro after this live, and like we got, you know what, we got to get it done. I don't know if he's watching because I know. You know what's funny is Bryce is at PA Jewelers. That's right here in my hometown. It's about 30 minutes west of me, and he started out. I think he was in the jewelry first? I think he was selling gold and stuff like that. He got into weapons, so he's selling guns. So he has Premier. It's like a whole gun store right down in Brownsburg. Beautiful spot, and he is the most affordable in the state of Indiana that I've seen so far. And now he sells jewelry and watches on the other end. And that's who I was trying to get you in touch with. So hopefully, Bryce, you're watching and you guys can connect, because I think your brand will do good here in Indiana because, dude, people love guns, and that watch next to the guns, fuego. That's all I'm saying.
I know you mentioned Bryce to me, I think last week, and I don't know Bryce, but if you're watching Bryce, love to work with you. Love to have product in your stores.
Yeah, there are a number of places, and I'm real big. I don't shy away from this. I am into that guerrilla marketing type stuff, so I will put my backpack on and take samples. I'll take stuff, and I'm on the road with it, and I'll talk to people and say, hey, why don't you have this? I'm direct. I'm extremely direct with people. They know, any company that I've been to know how direct I am. I think that
it's funny that you mentioned that, because out of the blue, like we get these comments that come in all the time. I found your watch. I love your watch. And out of the blue, someone's mentioning ball. I can address that as well. Two guys reached out saying, why isn't your watch in this jeweler, near them? And I said, well, we'd love to be in them. Both of these guys went into those jewelers, spoke to the owners, and both those jewelry stores just opened up. And that comes from a zealous individual that has one of our products that happens to love it and then goes and talks about it. So it's all part of the growth process of a new relatively new brand. It takes time, and it takes. What do we talk about? The change in retail. We talked about that 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
we need consumers to want something for the retailers to say, "Hey, we should stock this." And this is two examples of just one, an individual consumer. One of them went into their jeweler to get. They had the titanium field watch of ours, and now we have these titanium bracelets. So he bought the bracelet and went in and asked them to attach the bracelet. And the person doing it said, what is this brand? This is really nice. And that's how we got in. So another guy was a Navy veteran who got one of our USMC quartz dive watches, and he went into his local jeweler and said, you should be carrying this brand, and started a dialogue, introduced me, but we just got the order yesterday. So, if you want to get out and beat the pavement, you go right ahead, young man.
Man, bro, listen, that's me all day. I love it, because the thing about it, man, I think collecting is fun. It's very important too. And I know a lot of people that's watching, some of you guys are attached to your digital device, right? Your smartwatches. And I'm not knocking those. Those are great tools. However, when we're talking watches, and somebody mentioned ball, I actually have, I think I did my wrist check. I have a ball on right now, tritium tubes. And I just think this is important in this, and I don't want this to ever go away. You know what I'm saying? I want to pass this on to the next generation, because like my granddaughter's 3 years old. And when she comes over to the house, she automatically goes to a set watch. She goes to hey, she's looking through the box, and she can almost go to the same watch every time that she likes, that she'll gravitate to, unless I bring something new. And she's like, ooh, okay. And she's playing with that. So that's something I want to pass on to her. And if she decides to, really get into it, and which I've done so many videos where I'll just hold the watch up and I say, hey, this contract, she gets this watch, so I don't want my kids trying to take these watches from her. But this is something I want to pass along. And you have something, bro. Like, we're on borrowed time. We're on borrowed time, man. And I think what you have, you know, and it's crazy. Based off of what you did with Luminox and seeing PROTEK, and there's people, I've seen 2 PROTEKs in a while here in Indiana. I was at Moyers. There's 2 people 2 people had PROTEK on. And I think that's how we got into the conversation of you. And I think that's important. I think that's very important, man. So there's a number of brands that I will support and rock, and I will walk all over God's green creation just to talk about what I'm passionate about. And I know I've seen you light up on certain people's podcasts when you use the word passion. I've seen it. I've watched enough of them.
Well, I am passionate about it, and I appreciate your passion as well. I'm starting to lose some juice, so I'm going to move to a different location.
Oh, you got it. Okay, juice up.
Yeah,
we're going. You know, I'm gonna take a phrase out of somebody else's page. We're gonna land this plane here shortly, so you can get back to work and creating stuff. And let me see, have too many watches.
To that guy, you may have too many, but you've got one too few.
Yeah, hey, there you go.
Sorry,
what's good, folks?
Pardon the eclipse behind me. That's why I wasn't here before.
Nah, no worries, man. Hey, listen, this is I'm as raw as it's going to get when it comes to these things, to live streams and stuff. So I'm all with it. And I know my man, I got your pictures, bro. I got one of my guys is watching right now. He's a Marine, you know what I'm saying? Salute, bro. So hey, you get your Marine buddies and just, I don't care who it is. Go to church, talk to your people there, be like, hey, I know y'all like watches. Here, go check out TrapVision 3D. Go ahead and share this out because this is very important. I've been looking at the numbers, and you've been streamed, I don't know, a few thousand times, man, like 6,000 or 7,000 times on one stream, 4,000 to 5,000 on another stream, 4,000 to 500 on another. Like you're all over the place with how many people come in contact. And that would be nice to know, like, as far as the algorithm, how was it like working out for you? You know, I would love to know that.
I'm not tech enough to even understand all that. So I'm glad if people my purpose is very simple. Get people to know about our product, give it a try. And if they do, we feel pretty darn confident they're going to love the product. And the reason I tell you that, we get unsolicited emails all the time. People just saying, I found your product, I bought it, I love it. So, you know, once in a while it's, you know, I followed what you've done. I was aware of your old brand. I had many of those. Now I have this. Thankfully, people are telling us, I think this is the best stuff you've ever done. So that's great. When we set out to do this, really, we had a clean sheet of paper, and I just wrote no excuses and no compromises at the top of the page, and that would become our ethos. And I know this is probably repetition for you because you've seen some videos, but I also heard a great quote from the legendary Vince Lombardi, who said that perfection is not attainable, but if you pursue perfection, you have a chance to arrive at excellence. And so I decided that's going to be our mantra. We're going to try. We know we can't be perfect, but we're going to try like hell to be perfect. And then hopefully we can just arrive at being an excellent product. And these people that are sending in these unsolicited emails are confirming that we have arrived at excellence. And then if we take it a little further, the reviews that we've gotten across the board, we've never had a bad review. Every review's been from pretty much great to incredible. And this includes certified watchmakers who could actually build a watch and have said that we make the best value tritium watch in the industry and that our build quality is outstanding. And, you know, that's what we went after. We're trying to be perfect. Okay, you can't be perfect. Right. But if you try to be, then hopefully you arrive at excellence. And we think we have. And I mean, our defect percentage is somewhere around 0.5%. So it's,
I saw that because like you're like an airtight facility, like no dust whatsoever. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
We expect people to love the product. If you don't love it, we're concerned and we want to make sure we can make sure you love it. fix whatever is wrong to make sure you love it. We get a lot of good comments also on the PROTEK owners Facebook group, which is a group of people that own a PROTEK, and they make great comments not only about our product, but also about our customer service. So like I've seen people say, if you're having a problem, you reach out to them. Best customer service I've ever had, which, you know, I'm proud to see that. Because that's how we want to be known, as someone that cares about our customer.
Barry, and I'm listening, like, just as much as I want my audience and anybody that's passing by to understand where you stand with your company. That is very important to me, man, because I've been in retail for a long time. I worked at one of the toughest jobs, man, that teaches like customer service, and that was Enterprise. They drive home customer service, so like that's embedded. And I have worked with some companies. I've purchased watches from companies that they dropped the ball. I'm not even gonna mention them. Y'all know I've said it too many times on this channel. Barry, that's huge with me, and that's something I want to transfer over to the people that's watching. I want them to trust the company and enjoy, right? Les, I wouldn't have you up here, man. God forbid I ever get a watch company up on my channel and they drop the ball. I would delete that video. I'm like, nope, I don't want to have no association with that because I don't represent that whatsoever. That's not TrapVision at all. But I've heard too many, and even on ProPilot, I was looking, your rating on ProPilot is crazy. So yes, bro, like I literally did a background check on everything you have. There's nothing but good stuff that I've seen. I don't even
know what ProPilot is. What is that?
ProPilot is a rating system, a biz for businesses. Yeah. You got, it's like Yelp. You know Yelp, you ever been on Yelp?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's just like Yelp. ProPilot is just what people rate your stuff on. So your brand is well received.
Good.
At the end of the day. Yeah, at the end of the day. Yeah. And if you go through it's a lot it's a lot when you come on YouTube and you look at all the comments, because there are tons of comments on your product. You have Watch Crunch if you type in PROTEK. There's other forums, people on Facebook. So there's a lot of information to go through. And you strike me as my man Jake over there at Trifecta. He's like, hey, listen, I just want to run the business. I don't have the time to go through social media. So I appreciate when you bring that information back to me.
I don't go to Facebook. No offense against people who love that, but it's a time suck and I don't have the time. So just social media is not my thing. But
okay.
Recognize the value of it.
Before we go, somebody asked, I know you, so if you just got here, he's wearing his brand. He's going to wear his brand. But as far as a luxury watch, what is your go-to? Because somebody asked about Rolex. Is your go-to Rolex?
I've always loved the Daytona. I think it's a wonderful watch. I'd love to own one, but you know, I don't like the silliness that I see going on. You know,
that's for a whole other show.
You know, with jewelers saying that, well, you know, first of all, I can't get you one. If I could get you one, without even telling you, you'd have to spend $50,000 in the store on jewelry, and then we could get you on a list, and then you could wait for a couple of years, or you could buy one in the used market for double the price. I mean, I'm not going to play those games. Would I like it? Yes, but I'm not going to play those games.
I'm with you. And my man Tony Woe is in here right now. That's my big bro. I just mentioned this to him yesterday. I said, hey, you could be a guy that has $40,000 to $50,000 disposable income, and you walk into a store in AD fresh, willy-nilly, and you say, hey, I like this watch, and I'm looking at it. It looks new. It still have wrapping on it. You be like, but it's not available. Here, let me direct you over here. We have some jewelry. Maybe if you want to buy this Omega first and buy this. Yeah. And he was like, are you serious? I said, yeah, bro, you got to play the game. You got to go through the dance to get certain watches. And there's a guy that I will not mention. He has spent thousands of dollars. I'm talking about tens of thousands of dollars, and still can't get the Daytona he wants, man. You know who you are because you may be watching right now. I will never mention your name.
Look, Rolex isn't alone doing this. How about Ferrari? They come out with a unique and limited example car. Not that the regular guy's going in to buy a Ferrari, but let's say somebody that wants to buy this particular Ferrari comes in and wants to buy it, they won't sell it to him because it goes to somebody that's already bought like 10 or 12 cars.
Mm-hmm.
They allocate it, and that's just kind of how it is these days. I don't like it, but you can see it. Same thing with Rolex.
All right, over 250K on Rolex. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to let my man Barry get back to work because he has to go out there and make more watches for you guys, because I know you guys are going to flood PROTEK. You guys are going to tell your friends about it. I know it. I feel it in my bones because I've seen PROTEK name. You know what? Hashtag PROTEK watches. You know what I'm saying? Put that in there as you share this out. I want to run an experiment to see just how many people we can get to watch this, how many people we can get to talk about it. And then also put hashtag watch enthusiasts. Just a little homework. You know what I'm saying? It's fun homework. You know, it's, you know, y'all typing all day anyway. So Barry, thank you for your time, bro. This is and this is not going to be the last time. We're going to keep in touch. I have your number, email. We're going to keep in touch with each other. Matter of fact, for those that's going over there, he's offering 20% off. All you have to do is type before you hit end sale. TRAP is the code. TRAP. Matter of fact, I'll spell it out. It's right there. TRAP. Matter of fact, look, do I need to change hats? Let me change hats real quick. There we go.
There's your code right there.
There we go. There's my code right there. TRAP is the code. TRAP. Yeah, get over there, check it out. Look at the website. Your website is very informative. It's fun to watch, man. It's like a movie or something, man. I like it.
In the interest of being fair to your customer, though, Travis, I should let them. We're putting in place TRAP for 20% off. That'll be ongoing, but I should let them know that there's a bigger discount available right now for the Black Friday, Cyber Monday thing.
Ooh.
So BFCM30, as in Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the number 30, BFCM30, 30% off with that code on our website. I think for another 5 days.
Okay, so put TRAP in your notebook. He said it'd be ongoing. So take advantage of that first, because you want to save as much money as possible, get the watch on the wrist and talk about it. That's what we do here. We watch enthusiasts, man, all day, every day.
Might as well let them
about it. Let's see. So yeah, man, Cole TRAP is a jerk. Get out of here, man. That's crazy, man. Hey, bro, you know what? I got some seasoning salt for your crayons, brother. I got you. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna heat them up and bring them to you. All right, I'm gonna get them like a little soft a little bit. Now I'll go ahead and peel the wrapper off so you can get to it easier, baby D. You feel me? Anyway, thank you so much, Barry. You the man, bro. You've been out here.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah. So keep in mind, y'all. You may see him on Netflix one day. I called it. So when you see like, yo, TRAP, man, he must be like, man, psychic. I'm just saying. Barry's gonna be on Netflix, and we'll see Barry just take the silver screen, man. Horology at its best. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys for watching. Barry, thank you so much, man. I'll be in touch with you, bro. I'm gonna follow with you with Bryce. Bryce, if you're watching, yeah, let's get it going, brother. All right, y'all. We up out of here, man. So until the next lightning strike, y'all be blessed.
Hey, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it.
No problem.
This is so dope, a man with a watch looking like he broke the bank, but he promised me he's not. He said he got started from his wife and a pop's watch, face so fat the band had stretch marks. It shines so bright that you can see it from Mars. Man, he blinded me, reflecting headlights from the cars. He's got to be a rapper, baller, or a movie star, but nah, he's too humble to be all of the above. So he said, my name is Trap, oh, cause you bees in the trap. Nah, it ain't even like that, and he tilted his bull's cap. Introduced me to his wife, and she had one too. Wrist game so cold that she could build igloos out of nothing. They legit, they even bless their kids. Man, when they all stand in the road, they look like Forgiato rims. Tight like Tim's on a New York summer day. I just gotta be down, but he had to set me straight like